And welcome into the roundtable. And obviously, cybersecurity has become a major issue in the transportation space, with usually one entity being hit pretty hard every couple of months or so. Estes Trucking, of course, the latest unfortunate casualty. It looks like they're rebounding fairly well. But that leads us to an NMFTA conference on cybersecurity. And joining us from Houston at that conference is John Kingston. And it's not necessarily lost on us here, John, that obviously you're at a cybersecurity conference, and unfortunately the computer doesn't work, and we've got to take you on the phone.
Right, yeah, and you think, Bill, that it's because of a firewall issue here, so maybe they're doing a good job. I don't know.
It's possible. We'll see what happens there. So you're in Houston at the NMFTA cybersecurity conference there. What's the general vibe of what's going on, what you're hearing there? Obviously, as mentioned, we've been seeing a pretty good-sized company get hit every so often. What's your take on how people are feeling down there?
What's really striking to me is the dichotomy between how complex this is and how simple it is. I mean, it's complex because there's a lot of money being thrown in to protect companies, and there's a lot of money being thrown in by the bad guys, because you always hear the term the bad guys over and over again, to attack companies. It's simple because the entry for the bad guys is the stuff we've all heard about over and over again. Don't open up links that don't look right. Change your passwords. Don't make your passwords simple. I mean, there's still, there were several references here to people still using like hello as a password, or the QWERTY run of letters on the keyboard. So, but the thing is, if you've got an enterprise of 10,000 people, all you need are 2 or 3, and probably even more, who occasionally open up a link that they shouldn't have opened up, and then it could be you go all hell in a handbasket. So that's what I'm saying about the dichotomy between the simple solutions and the complexity of the whole issue. I went to the opening reception Sunday night, and I felt kind of silly because I asked a couple of people, well, has your company been attacked? And they make the point that every company in America is attacked like hundreds, if not thousands of times a day. And usually it's almost like the human immune system, which is also attacked many times a day and can usually swat it away. But sometimes something it's never seen before gets through, like COVID. In this case, something gets through because somebody opened up a portal by, let's say, opening up a link that they shouldn't have. So yeah, companies are always constantly getting attacked. Their success rate in thwarting them is clearly 99% plus. But boy, as Estes shows, all it takes is one little miss, and you got havoc.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I wanted to go with it, in terms of, do you get the sense that obviously people know they're constantly under a barrage of attacks, but generally do people feel fairly confident about this thing? Obviously, hopefully avoiding that 0.1% that where things could go heavily in the wrong direction.
Well, I think they do. I mean, first of all, this is a meeting of largely people who do this for a living. I talked to a representative from one LTL company, I won't say which one, and he's a staff of 5, and those 5 people do nothing but cybersecurity all day long. And that's just cybersecurity. That's not the whole IT team. So, you figure, let's say, average total compensation package with salary and benefits and other things, probably $200,000 in that, if not more. You're talking about a significant outlay of money here for staff. So yeah, of course they're going to feel confident. This is their job, but they know that they're being attacked all the time. They're to some degree at the mercy of the staff members, hoping that they have, 100% success in having people not open up links they shouldn't open up. So, I mean, nobody's really sounding like, oh my God, we're defeated here. They do sound fairly confident, but with the knowledge that it's a massive attack all the time.
Yeah, it's every place that I've worked at since 2005. You've always gotten a regular email from IT saying, please change your password, please don't open up links, those kind of thing. Outside of that, though, what kind of issues are being discussed at the conference?
Well, one thing that there's quite a few presenters here from various government agencies, and the point is they're here to help. Now, let me point out that most companies, I think, will probably hire an outside consultant. But we've had 2 presentations here by representatives from the CISA, which is I'm not going to do it right, cybersecurity, infrastructure, whatever. They're part of Homeland Security. Just came from a presentation from them. They had a presenter on the opening panel yesterday. And they went over the various things that that CISA can do for you. Also on the opening panel was a woman from the Transportation Security Administration. She also reviewed things that the TSA can do for you. So the point here is if you're, let's say, a small company and you really don't feel like, you've got the financial wherewithal to go out and hire some high-priced security consultant to fight this yourself, turn to CISA, turn to TSA, and see what they can do for you. Another good discussion has been about cybersecurity insurance. There was a representative from Marsh and she works in the cybersecurity practice on the opening panel. And, this stuff isn't cheap. Again, there was a, very interesting presentation from, let me make sure I get the name right. All right. Drew Williams from a company called Guidacent. And he put up a slide that showed all the various steps you can take as part of your cybersecurity things, and all of which cost money. So there's kind of like the cheap way of doing it. There's the kind of government-assisted way of doing it. And then there's the, let's go out and hire some consultants, some tech consultants, and pay them a lot of money to protect us. And then there's the issue of hiring insurance for when you get hit by ransomware. Look, the phrase has come up several times. We advise you to not pay ransomware. We know that the ransomware gets paid. It does get paid, not every case. But the woman from Marsh yesterday, let me get her name again, was Shelley Thomas. She said the highest ransomware demand she's seen this year is $175 million. Now, that ultimately wasn't paid. She said it was negotiated down. But the fact that it was negotiated down tells you that ultimately it was paid.
Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind there as well. So obviously a lot of the conference, and purposefully so, built on prevention. Obviously nobody wants to have this happen to them. Any information in terms of if you do get hit, here's how you should handle it?
Actually, no. There's been very little discussion of that. This is very much a prevention type of meeting. So no, I'm again looking over the panels for the rest of today, what I've gone to up till now, and what's on the schedule the rest of the day. It's only a 2-day conference. There is very little discussion of that. And my guess is that was planned. I'm not really sure why, but I guess you can. It's an interesting question. Why isn't that on the panel? But it's not.
Yeah, and obviously, perhaps every cyber attack is different. Therefore, the protocols to fix it perhaps are much like going to the doctor. You don't necessarily know how you have it, what you have, until you get checked out in that respect there as well.
One thing that's sort of disappointing is that A2E Pile got hit with a hack back in 2019, and they are presenting in about an hour from now on what happened in their hack. And I know that their CEO, I interviewed their CEO, and I did Freightways Radio back in 2019. I interviewed him at a conference and then, used that recording on the show. And they were very open about it. Unfortunately, the A2E Pile session here today is off limits to the press, which is disappointing. I would have loved to listen to it.
Yeah, that would definitely be an interesting discussion to hear about there as well. So you're obviously there. It's a 2-day conference. You've published one article already. What can we expect from you in terms of what we'll be seeing on freightwaves.com?
Well, I hope that there's enough today to write another story. I'll have to see.
All right. Well, as you look at it, so what is left at the conference that you're really looking forward to hearing from?
Well, okay. Let me look over the schedule because it's been pretty full. There's Jeremy Daly, who is a faculty member at the Colorado State, is doing a session on the ultimate truck hacking platform. See, one thing they've done is they've divided some of the sessions into asset track and enterprise track. So the asset track is where they try to hack your truck, which of course is completely connected to the internet via all sorts of telematics. And the enterprise track is about when they try to hack a company. So I'm interested to hear what Jeremy has to say. And then there's a couple of the closing general sessions about, where do we go from here on cybersecurity. So hopefully some of those will yield a story for the readers of Freightwaves.
Absolutely. And just to kind of wrap back around to the general vibe of thing, in terms of what you're hearing from the attendees there, in terms of their attitudes and how things are going. Obviously, again, everybody gets attacked every single day. What are people generally in a good space right now in terms of, or like, no one appears to be desperate there? That's basically what I'm asking.
No, this is, obviously, look, the timing of this meeting was incredible because of the Estes Act that just happened. And Estes, of course, is an LTL carrier, and the NMFTA is an organization of LTL carriers. I will say that I spoke to one person with a significant size LTL carrier, and he said they did not see really any lift in business as a result of the Estes hack. And that makes sense because I think by now people know that if a company does get hacked, if they get hit by a cyber attack, they're going to mostly be offline for about 2 weeks. Is the benefit from moving to another carrier during that time really worth all the effort? And I think that the conclusion is it probably is not. So no, I don't get any desperation at all. This is, look, these people know exactly what they got into when they signed up. And as I said, most of the attacks do get swatted away. It's just the occasional one that gets through. And I think that when one gets through, it's not necessarily a sign that they all did a lousy job.
Yeah, that's definitely true there as well. Last question, real quick. Has that hack been kind of the topic of major discussion since it's the last major one?
No, actually, no. And Billy, it's funny. Some of these questions are making me realize a few things. There have been references to Estes, but these, you know what? The people who are in this business, they work for trucking companies, but they're interested in all hacks. So Estes doesn't mean anything particularly special to them. I mean, if another company got hacked, they'd want to know, well, how did they get hacked? Where does it look like it came from? Because it doesn't really matter whether it's a trucking company or a manufacturer of something else. So yeah, surprisingly, I mean, I think I would have expected to talk to me about Estes all the time, but it's just kind of in the background. But all hacks are important to the people who are involved in this field.
Kind of makes you wonder if those on the other side are trying to target certain businesses, or if it's just, hey, we can get into anything we want to, or we're going to try to get into it. Yeah.
I get no sense that trucking is particularly. I mean, they just, as I said, these companies get attacked, hundreds of times a day, and they're not alone. Every company is getting hacked. Is getting attacked. I won't say hacked. It's getting attacked hundreds of times a day.
Yeah, John, thanks so much for joining us here, and obviously we'll look forward to any more information and news coming out of Houston.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. John Kingston joining us from the NMFTA Cybersecurity Conference there in Houston, Texas. We'll take a short break and be back with more photos now after this.